And welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. Yes, we have major applause for the Social Security debate we are having right now between Spandan Chakrabarti, who's the publisher of The People's View. The site is thepeoplesview.net, and our own Daniel Marins, who is the policy director of Social Security Works. Okay, gentlemen, in this second round, the rules are a little bit different. Now we have 1-minute responses. However, each of you is allowed one 10-second interruption in the other person's 1 minute and one 5-second interruption. So if you hear anything that the other person says in the course of this minute that you think is wrong, you have a 10-second opportunity to interrupt them.
David, I'm going to
have a second opportunity,
interrupt you right
5-second, even a quicker interruption. Spandan, I want to start with you. I want you to repeat something that you said. You cited a Pew Poll in our last segment about younger people's views on Social Security, and I want to give you an opportunity to restate that because it wasn't quite what I thought I saw in the Pew Poll, but go ahead. What was the Pew Poll that you were referring to, and what was your point? You have a minute.
I didn't cite a Pew Poll at the last segment. I cited one in my last article that I wrote about this. And the Pew Poll is basically tracked, asked different age groups of people what's more important, the social safety net or reducing the deficit, and every age group said the social safety net is more important. But the split was the closest among people in my age group, 18 to 29. The younger people were more likely than any other age group to think that that the closing deficit is very important. By the way, and this is not a either or thing. If you do not address long-term debt, you are going to end up having to have much more drastic cuts in social safety nets, and you have to address the long-term debt. And let me just
Sorry, Eric, with a minute. Daniel, Daniel Marins did not use any of his interruptions, but Spandan, you have 2 interruptions you can use with Daniel Marins in his 1 minute. Daniel, your reaction.
Well, Spandan, I also read the same poll that you're talking about, and I found some interesting things. First of all, I also found that 18 to 29-year-olds are more concerned than any other group, they believe more than any other group that they have a responsibility to provide financial help to elderly parents in need. So that's 84% of them. And it strikes.
Are you under the impression that I oppose that?
No, all I'm saying is it seems to me that those same people that are more concerned than another group about taking care of their parents financially might like to know that even given how precarious that the income is for their parents when they reach old age, that we're not further cutting Social Security benefits from what they already are. But I would go even further because the poll also shows that 64% of young people favor raising payroll taxes on seniors, and just 34% support raising the full retirement age. So that's relatively consistent across age groups, but I thought that was interesting. And then I went back if I wanted to characterize our young people's views even more, because we're just using Pew here, and I went to a 2011 poll, and I found that 18 to 29-year-olds are the only age group that have a greater more people feel positive about socialism than feel negative about socialism, and fewer people feel positive about capitalism.
I'm not quite sure why we're talking about socialism, but
I'm just saying that our generation
you're going to get
actually more liberal.
A 535-member Bernie Sanders Congress elected. Unless we're talking about that, I'm not sure where we're there. But let's talk about that poll also real quick. 52% of young people feel that absent reforms, these benefits will not be there. That is part of the
that is because of decades of a drumbeat of telling everyone that Social Security.
Well, wait a minute. Now you can take your numbers and they're all fine.
Hold on a second, Daniel. You've used your interruption, Spandan. You got 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
Okay. You can use your numbers, and they're all legit, but as soon as I quote a number from the same poll, that is somehow a result of propaganda. Come on, give me a break. But let's, I wanted to go back, and yes, we have to bring up the tax level, the level of income up to which we tax for Social Security. I already said that. I don't think there's a debate about that here. About healthcare costs, that is...
Save healthcare costs for the next one. Daniel Marins, let's pick up on the issue of inevitability and whether something has to happen right now. Is it your belief, Daniel Marins, that we don't really need to do anything right now, that having all this talk is really a lot of talk about stuff that is essentially putting an emergency out there that we don't have?
Look, I can't tell you for certain what will happen in the future. I just talked about young people's views. I am optimistic that we are becoming a more accepting and compassionate society. I can tell you one thing, that we're only going to see the Tea Party Congress lose its grip on the House more and more with each passing year. We're only going to see our deficits shrink more with each passing year, weakening of the hand of austerity hawks, strengthening the hand of Democrats who actually care about these social insurance programs. Just now, we just heard that the deficit is shrinking to $260 million a year in 2013. So dramatic, and it's because most of the deficit was due to the economy. And so blowing up this idea that the deficit's choking us, we're not going to be able to pay for Social Security, that we need to act now, is totally ridiculous. Long term, it's about healthcare costs. Spandan and I agree that the Affordable Care Act was a tremendous start. We need to go further. We need to bargain for drugs. We need to create a public option, eliminate all this for-profit overhead. What I don't think we need to do is compromise through an ultimatum system, as the president has agreed to do with the debt ceiling showdown, or whether it's a sequester. That is not how we should be making decisions about the future of our social insurance program.
Spandan, would you agree that, first of all, you could pick up whatever point, but my question would be, is that do you agree that there's not something that needs to be done? There's no immediacy. We don't really need to tackle this issue right now.
Right. If you don't tackle it tomorrow, the world is not going to end. Yes, I will agree to that. But the fact of the matter is, the earlier you tackle it, the better. And if we're going to do serious debt reduction, by the way, there's a difference between immediately reducing the short-term deficit and long-term debt reduction. And I'm talking about long-term debt reduction. And in terms of that, if you are doing a grand bargain, and this is part of it, it is entirely acceptable, as far as I'm concerned, and the change of care portion of it. And let's talk about the healthcare costs and the Affordable Care Act. It is, by the way, to bring seniors, let's say, cost of living in. That is the goal, to bring that in line with the rest of the population. And we should be addressing healthcare costs, and not just for seniors, but for everybody, separately. And we should stop pretending that 0.3% COLA increase is going to solve our healthcare woes. That is ridiculous.
Daniel Marins, your response. You have a minute.
Where to start? Just to be clear, first of all, I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't be engaging in long-term debt reduction, but the fact of the matter is, the best way to do that in the long term is the number one driver of that is healthcare costs. Social Security has nothing to do with the debt. It's fully self-funded, and in fact, we wouldn't even be talking about a shortfall in 2033 if it didn't have to be self-funded. So it has nothing to do with the deficit or the debt. Second of all, tactically and strategically, even if we're talking about reducing the long-term debt, we're talking about it at a time of heightened leverage for people that don't have the program's best interests at heart. Why? Because the deficit looks artificially large due to depressed revenues and increased emergency spending during this recession that we're emerging out of, and they were using that crisis as leverage to shove through these cuts, to say they're inevitable, to say that this is crazy. I don't want to give them that leverage. I want to wait till we can talk about austerity during the boom, not during the contraction. That's what Keynes said. That's what I believe. Now, second of all, I'm not saying that chain CPI, or rather that.
Sorry. Based on our timing, each have about 45 seconds to make a summary. We'll let the Spandan have the last word. So, Daniel, I'll give you the 45 seconds now, and then Spandan, you got the last 45 seconds. Daniel, go ahead.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm not suggesting that a change in the COLA, that somehow we should be using the COLA to solve all our healthcare problems. What I am saying is that at a time when seniors are living even more precariously, at a time when America's working families are making less as a share of the national wealth, when they're seeing their wages decline during their working years and finding it more and more difficult to save, when people in late middle age cannot return to work even if they want to because they cannot find work, we should not be scaling back in any way on Social Security. We certainly should not be doing it when Republicans have heightened leverage and are using ultimatums over the debt ceiling and government shutdowns to shove those changes through. Not to do that.
That's the audience cheering for you, Daniel. Bravo. Good job. Spandan, you got 45 seconds.
Right. Okay. So I think there is a little bit of an intellectual heft here, just honestly, to say that, oh, they're using the current economic conditions as leverage, and then to turn around and use current economic conditions as the reason why we shouldn't do anything to Social Security in the longer term later. Nothing is
Those are long-term trends.
to happen
Long-term trends
today.
in the
Hold on, in the longer term, it is a little bit intellectually dishonest. But and this is not just, by the way, the term when we have a lot of financial problems. We also have probably the most progressive president in the last 50 years, and let's do it from now.
Spandan,
The most right-wing House Republican.
I want to thank Spandan,
The most right-wing House.
publisher of the People's View, and our own Daniel Marins. This was a great debate, folks. This is the only radio station in America that will spend a half an hour debating Social Security like this. Thank you both so much. Take Action News continues
Thank you.
right after this. Thanks, Spandan. Thanks, Daniel. More after this.
Thank you.